This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Los Angeles. Today we are joined by the chair of the Los Angeles County Democratic Party. He is now running for chair of the California Democratic Party. The election is coming up. And I want to speak with you about California Democrats. If we look at November, it's hard to deny that the Democratic Party had a great night, election 2016. In California. Hillary Clinton carries the state by 30 points, 7 points more than Barack Obama did. The legislature went 2/3 Democratic. If Democrats are looking for successes, they go right through California in the future for sure.
Look, I think the roadmap for the reemergence and the renaissance of the Democratic Party nationally is California.
Right.
You know, I've been proud for the last 8 years to be part of the team that has won 2 statewide elections, every office, and has, in 2 of the last 3 elections, had supermajorities in both houses of the legislature. It's incredibly difficult work, but this time we expanded our vote so much into places never imaginable. And by the way, in the presidential election, the single most amazing fact of all, Orange County voted for Hillary Clinton.
First time since I think the 1920s, was it?
30s, yeah.
30s. So that begs the question. You are a leader in California. I have to think your colleagues in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania are saying, what can we do? Florida, I mean, these are states that have been kind to Democrats and flipped in 2016.
Look, they're first of all, they all look to California as the place, as the beacon of hope, and as the place that knows how to do it right. My personal framing of what we have to do as a party here in California and frankly nationally is that we have to be the party of the big tent where there's a place for everybody at the table.
Okay.
We have to be the party of bold ideas, and I'll actually tell you about a few of my bold ideas for California in a few minutes. And we have to be the party that's building the future every day. Part of what happened in Michigan, in Wisconsin, not so much in Florida, and even in Ohio, the attention that those areas should have gotten from our candidate, from our campaign, were minimized.
I agree with you. It is factually accurate what you just said. But the Democratic candidate didn't pay attention to Orange County, to San Bernardino County, to Riverside County, and she won those counties. And so why is it that California's swing voters, let's call them, are swinging Democratic, whereas the upper Midwest swing voters are swinging Republican?
Well, that's a good question. On the one hand, you had a group of voters who chose to suspend disbelief and think that a guy who in his own business life has his ties made in one foreign country, his hats made in another foreign country, and his coats made in another foreign country is going to actually bring jobs back to the United States. He has no interest in doing that. He never did, and he's not going to do it. It's not real. But they were willing to suspend disbelief because they were hearing what they wanted to hear. That populist message really resonated. In California, we use that populist message all the time.
Right.
But not only do we use the message, we actually deliver it. We actually pass progressive legislation. We've actually raised the minimum wage to a livable wage level over time.
But let me ask you though, if we look at November, if there was one spot that wasn't so bright for California Democrats, it was on the congressional side. No seats flipped, none. If we look towards 2018, if the Democrats are going to have any hope of flipping the House of Representatives in Washington, that hope goes right through California.
Absolutely.
And we look at Congressman Jeff Denham, David Valadao, Darrell Issa, Mimi Walters, Steve Knight. Those are 5 Republicans with targets on their back. If you are the leader of the California Democratic Party, I would presume you're going to be spending a lot of attention, paying a lot of attention to those areas.
Look, our biggest contribution in the electoral sense to our nation is going to be to deliver additional seats to our Democratic caucus.
You said there are 7.
Congress.
I listed 5. Who are the other 2 that you think are if I can put you on the spot?
Now you got
it. So Denham, Valadao, Issa, Walters, Knight. I'm trying to think who
Rohrabacher.
Rohrabacher. Okay.
And I'm missing one.
We'll think about it as we go through. Okay, but do you think that these are legitimate dreams. Because look, Jeff Denham has had a bullet. I shouldn't use that has been a target for quite some time. David Valadao. I mean, ICE is new, a new target. Mimi Walters is new to the Congress. Steve Knight new to the Congress. Rohrabacher. I mean, wow, to think that he's a targeted seat.
And look at how his district, around the surrounding his district, how it
Right.
voted. Look, here's what's different. First of all, we have to do the best job of recruiting candidates. We have to not have a divide between our state Democratic Party and our local activists on the one hand, and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee on the other hand.
Right.
Which, because we have kind of different approaches and different tactics, we haven't always gone exactly perfectly in sync.
Well, let's talk about the divide. I was compelled to learn that when U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein had some town halls a few weeks ago, one in L.A., one in San Francisco, she got a lot of flack on her left, which was a bit surprising. We know our Republican friends throughout the nation have been really taking a beating in terms of town halls, but our Democratic friends, not as much, we hear, but Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein got...
Dianne Feinstein has... Oh, see, this is where you sort of, when we talk about sort of fake news or alt news. Dianne Feinstein has been taking flack on the left since the day she gave her speech at the convention, the Democratic convention, and said she was for the death penalty when she was running against John Van de Kamp, and she got booed by the convention.
Okay, so
this is not new.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
She has always had a moderate streak in her, including supporting the NSA and voting for the war and all of these things. That's not
fair.
new.
That's fair, but I do think there is a bit of a schism in the Democratic Party. I don't know if it's as big in California as it is in other parts of the country, but you know, the folks that supported Bernie Sanders are still loud and proud, and will they be there for the Democrats when the Democrats need them? I mean, a lot of Bernie voters went to Trump, not so much in California, but in Ohio and in Michigan. And so if you're the leader of the party, what will you do to bring the Bernie voters?
I must say, and I said it, my first concept is we're the party of the Big Ten. A week after the primary election last year,
in California?
In California, I had 250 people at my house for a unity barbecue. We had 125 Hillary people, 125 Bernie people. We spent 4 or 5 hours together. We had a leader of the Bernie camp and a leader of the Hillary camp speak, and then I gave a sort of unification speech. And you know, for an entire afternoon, everybody got along. The problem is we tend to focus more on what divides us than on what unites us. And the race for chair of the DNC sort of reopened a lot of those wounds.
Sure.
Because
Tom Perez and Keith Ellison.
Right. Because look, the institutionalists, meaning the Obama-Clinton wing, were with Tom Perez, and the Sanders and progressive wing were by and large with Keith Ellison. As you know, I was with Keith Ellison, and I worked very hard to dispel some of the statements that had been made about him, particularly as they relate to Jewish Americans and to Israel, that were patently untrue. But that helped reopen the wounds. And going forward, one thing that's critical for us is that we come together.
Okay, when you come back, we'll be talking more about the future of the California Democratic Party. He is running for chair of that institution. He is currently the chair of the Los Angeles County Democratic Party. He is Eric Bauman. I am Brad Pomerance, and this is Local Edition.